The very first diet I ever tried was paleo,
Hmm.
and in the very first week, I had food poisoning.
Fasting, intermittent fasting, and keto.
This is nice because it pairs well with the aerobic system, like
It really
aerobic
does.
metabolism.
Yeah. So I'll just start by saying that I do intermittent fasting and keto. I've been doing intermittent fasting since sometime in 2017, sometime in that
Mhm.
range. And then keto, I just started like maybe 2 months ago at most. So, so yeah, I have a little bit of experience with them both. What about you?
I've done more IF than I have done keto, because dairy and me don't get along, and a lot of like fat sources are dairy related.
Yeah.
So it's a little tough for me to get enough calories that way. But I like intermittent fasting because I'm super lazy. So
Yep.
it's way easier to not eat until your fasting window, and then you just go to town.
I love it. I love it because I'm lazy. I love it because I don't like to worry about my food if I have to go out
Yep.
somewhere.
It
Like,
frees you.
yeah, totally freeing. Um, and I'll say the way I started it, well, actually, so the way I started it was I wanted to do it for a little bit, but I just didn't do it, I guess.
Hmm.
But then I got sick and it just killed my appetite for like a couple days. And then from then on, I was just like, well, I kind of been fasting the past couple days, so let's just give it a shot. And so that's kind of how I got into it. But the easy way to go about that is to just skip breakfast. Just skip
Yeah.
breakfast, and you'll if you don't eat until like a normal lunchtime, whether it's 12 or 1,
Hmm.
then you're going to set yourself up probably for that 16-hour fast, 8-hour eating window just by skipping breakfast.
The very first diet I ever tried was paleo,
Mm,
and in the very first week, I had food poisoning.
perfect.
1 week in, I don't even think it was a week. It might have been like 5 days. I was just like puking and pooping at the same time, and I felt like I was gonna die. So that one was pushed off to the side. So my intro to intermittent fasting experience was way better.
Nice.
Way, way better.
How'd you go
Um,
about it?
so when I started coaching like a 5 a.m. or 5:45 or a 6 a.m. class, you don't eat breakfast because it's like 4,
Yeah.
basically still nighttime. So then I would coach 5:30, let's say 5:30 to 7:30. I would work out at 7:30 with coffee, and then I'd coach again at 9:30, and then it was like 10:30, and I'd been up since 4. And then by the time like you'd eat as soon as you could, 10:30, 11, and then at like 8 o'clock, I couldn't keep my eyes open.
Yeah, yeah, okay. So yeah, you were naturally doing it that way.
Yeah, yeah. And when I first started, I was like making breakfast and like eating microwaved eggs and a bagel like on the way, but it just didn't feel good. It felt like I there are a billion stories about bodybuilders like forcing food down. And there's
Mm-hmm.
this one about this guy who like hit the brakes because he was in traffic and he like puked all over his windshield. It was just like I didn't want to. That's an extreme example, but that came to mind. So I just stopped eating breakfast and I drank a lot of coffee. And I was also in school, and I had also started taking like some nootropics at about the same time, which are like brain enhancing, like the movie Limitless, just like more realistic. Like maybe you get a 10% boost, whatever. But caffeine, fasting, and nootropics, my brain was like on fire.
Yeah, yeah, caffeine and fasting is kind of I love it.
It's like a
Although
cheat.
it seems like it is, although I haven't had caffeine at all today. And so I'm wondering if I feel like I'm living in a weird world right now without caffeine.
Everyone else thinks so too.
Yeah, yeah. But
So your window,
yeah,
8:16.
8:16 is what I do now. So I started off with 8:16. And then for a solid like 9 months or so, I was doing a 2 hour window.
Wow.
Yeah. I was fasting all the way until like 5 o'clock at night.
Okay.
So that's when I would have my first meal, is like at 5. And then I would eat all of my calories for the day. I would eat within 2 hours, and then that would be it.
Could you
And
get in 2,500 in that sitting?
yeah, I think I roughly got in like 2,200 or so, which was like really disgusting. The
It was
full-
like 2 bags of Oreos. That's what it was. Then we're
that
done.
would be great, actually. But yeah, no, I was getting all that in, but now I went ever since quarantine started back in like March. I was
Mhm.
doing it up until March, and then when that started, I just, for whatever reason, I went back to regular old 16-8.
Mhm.
But every now and then there's a day where I'm just like busy and I don't eat until 4 or something like that. It just happens sometimes. But yeah, that's kind of what I do.
That's easier to make a decision when you're stuck at home to just not eat than it is to meal prep and make yourself vegetables and like have a healthy breakfast and then time out a healthy lunch.
Yep.
It's just simpler.
Way simpler. That's why I love it, dude. And that when I started it, I had like a long commute to work, and sometimes I would have to like go to different places for work too. And so
Yeah.
just not having to think about what I'm gonna do for food while I'm out there
Yeah.
was so freeing.
Yeah. The burden is
Yeah,
gone.
so much better. So I absolutely love it. And if I know I'm gonna have a busy day, or I know I'm gonna be all over the place, or whatever it is, I will just tell myself, I'm like, all right, well, I'm just not going to eat until like dinner when I get home. And it doesn't seem like the biggest deal in the world. You know, before starting intermittent fasting, before reading about it and hearing about it, you would say, oh my God, you haven't eaten all day? Like, that's crazy. Like, that's a crazy person who
Yeah.
hasn't eaten all day.
You're disordered.
Yeah,
That's the word for that.
exactly. And now it just doesn't seem like such a big deal if you have to do that every now and then.
So when do you do your training sessions with IF?
So I've done both. I've done where I do it in the morning.
Hmm.
And I think that's what I did the majority of my fasting on, is where I would train in the morning, which was interesting. It was nice actually to train on an empty stomach, because I feel better
Yeah,
doing
I'm
it
with you there.
rather than feeling like I'm stuffed or something. But it was just a combination, I think, of waking up early to work out, and I'm sure the lack of food, I guess, or energy that I might have had. I'm sure that all compounded, and just over time, I got sick of it. Now I work out, so I'll eat my first meal at 1 o'clock, and I work out around 4:35.
Hmm. Enough time for your stomach to clear a little bit.
Yeah, so I don't eat anything. Like at 1, I'll eat, but then I don't eat again until after I'm done working out. So yeah, that seems to be working out pretty well. I don't feel like it's slowing me. I don't feel like I'm slow or anything, especially when you throw the keto in there. You know, we can get into that, but talking about not having a ton of carbs, sometimes people worry about that slowing them down in their workouts. I'm sure it does, but I haven't noticed anything negative from it.
Yeah. Well, for me, fasting, I feel great, but I start losing weight.
Yeah,
Paleo is the same thing. I feel great, but I personally cannot afford to lose weight.
yeah,
I mean, if I could lose 5 or 10 pounds, but like my cheeks would be all sunken in and you'd see me smiling and like my eyes would be yellow. I mean, it's not that bad. It could always be worse, but my performance will go down because of my weight,
yeah.
which has always been a struggle for me. I've always struggled trying to add additional mass, which I've heard you and Casey talking about it, and you guys said you could gain 30 pounds in a month. That's
Good,
I think you guys could too.
good.
That's outrageous.
Not good weight, my man. Just wait.
Listen, I would probably be better at bench pressing if I gained 30 pounds.
You would. You definitely would. The bar wouldn't travel as far. So
Yeah.
you just have a bunch of fat on your chest.
Chest fat. That's how you know it's over. The beer guts turned into the beer pecs.
But yeah, I mean, so I don't, fasting in and of itself hasn't caused me to lose weight,
Hmm.
because, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because I'll make sure, like subconsciously or whatever, I will just always eat the same amount of calories.
Hmm.
I'll force myself to eat a certain amount of calories, I guess. So I've only lost weight while fasting if I also focus on the calories. Otherwise, I guess I just naturally eat enough to not lose weight.
Yeah, I don't because I like coffee and clear head, and then it gets too long, and I'll have two meals, and two isn't enough, or two. I mean, even 2,000 calorie meals, which sounds like a lot of food. When you're training and I'm up on my feet and you're moving around, you hit that pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
So talk to me about keto. So IF is just a time restriction. It's the only thing you can eat the same foods. You can be IF and I guess that's what you are anyway. You're intermittent fasting and you eat other things. So talk to me about like, give me a little keto definition and how you do it.
Yeah. So, well, first off, like you said, IF is only time restriction, and there's a host of health benefits associated with it, apparently.
Yeah, even to the 10-hour window, there's research for 10 hours of
Wow,
keto.
really? I didn't know it was that short too. But calorie restriction slash intermittent fasting, they have similar effects overall, apparently, according to the science. And apparently they can help with like just longevity and fighting off those diseases that come with age and whatnot. So definitely look into it a little bit more if you'd like. Highly recommended.
Check
Now,
out Rhonda Patrick and Dom D'Agostino. I can't like talk highly enough about those two.
I agree, both of them very, very good. Now,